Throwin Bows. This is a video podcast where myself, my homies Jose and John are going to just talk some MMA. We hope you like it. If you like it, make sure that you subscribe and definitely leave your comments and let us know about what you think about what we talk about. Make sure you stay on to the end because we're going to just give you a little bit of high level how we felt about LFA 97 this week. Maybe we might throw in some hot takes in there. Who knows? You got to stick around till the end to find out. So, gentlemen,
Absolutely.
it has been an amazing week, in my opinion, in the world of professional MMA because we just had a lot to watch. But let's jump right in and let's talk about this LFA 97.
Please.
I think there were a ton of good fights. And I think there were some general changes that LFA made to the production that I think we can talk a little bit about. But just, jumping right in, what did you guys think of the event?
No, you go ahead. You lead.
I guess I like what I was thinking their stage setup would be, the whole deal. I'm like, all right, I can see it. Now we're dealing with a commentary post Miletich, at least for the time being, whatever that final decision, may be. But I liked kind of like the flow of the fights. I thought the fights got better, obviously, as the card went on, and I think I butcher his last name all the time, but Joban, I think he got more comfortable. Yeah, he got more comfortable with the broadcast, as it went on. So
Yeah.
I thought you almost saw a kind of a 180-degree turn with him in the bar during the broadcast, especially when they broke down when they did a live shot of all three, and I forget whose jiu-jitsu he was breaking down. And me and Jose were talking back and forth about it at the time. But it was like, all right, he's hitting his stride. He's comfortable.
It was definitely a rocky start on that broadcast. He needed to get his sea legs. But to your point, I think the fourth fight, he had finally found his flow, and that helped out. The production itself, though, and I don't know if it was video, like if they were having like maybe issues with their truck or whatever, but it was really grainy. Some of the shots from the camera angles were a little off, but I mean that's on the production, right? That's not on the fighters or the competitors. But I definitely hope that they kind of improve upon that moving forward. Because more people are going to start watching. We're still locked down. We ain't got shit else to do. So we're going to watch these fights. So, hopefully they'll improve on it. Jose, what did you think?
I mean, I thought it was good. I'm going to go a little bit off of you guys, especially what you just said, Maria. I'm not there for the production value of LFA. I'm not there for the production value of cage fighters. I'm not there. I've said it to somebody else, and I'll say it again.
Here we go.
I am there to look at the beef. I'm not there to look at the barn. When I go to UFC, when I go to ONE FC, when I go to Bellator, I am going for the production and the beef. But to be honest with you, I'm just there to see what cows I want to slaughter. And so, this is the equivalent of asking ESPN how come the NFL Combine isn't in 8K. I don't need it in 8K. That guy's just running a 40-yard dash. Everyone's just trying to figure out where this guy's playing on Sundays. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It was fine. I'm not here. Listen, I like Miletich. I hope whatever happens. And, listen, hopefully Mr. Miletich was really far away from the Capitol. As people that speak, as people that have grown up their whole lives in D.C., let me just say that it is not easy to do what those folks did. So hopefully Mr. Miletich was very far away from the Capitol. But what I will say is this. I did like that they, on the scramble, were like, let's go get Sanko. Let's go get Juban. And I agree. I think that eventually Juban did get in with the flow.
Sanko, to me, was the highlight, though, honestly.
She really did. She really did come with it.
She is fantastic. I'm really happy to see her getting that push. I gotta push back just a little bit on that because I think you're right. You want the beef and not the barn, but at the same time, this is part of a paid service. We're not getting LFA for free. You're only getting it if you've got UFC Fight Pass. So if I'm giving Uncle Dana my money, I want everything that comes on there to be of a certain production value to at least make me feel like I'm not completely getting bent over. Because it's what we're giving him is already ridiculous. Stop.
I'm just going to use the same service that Habib Nurmagomedov uses, and we'll just go.
So, I mean, I'm not going to say that I fall on that all the time, but I'm willing to forgive LFA because, yes, they worked something out with Uncle Dana to get it on the UFC app, but technically they're not owned by the UFC. And so, you know, if the LFA president's like, hey, listen, I don't got it like Uncle Dana. I don't got this Mickey Mouse deal that Dana's got, and I don't got the CBS Sports deal that that Bellator has. And so, pardon me, I'm just trying to turn a nice buck and have some good fights. Which, by the way, there were some good fights. That was a good card, and so I was like, wow. I hope that tomorrow's UFC brings it because this card had some really good fights on it.
Yeah. I mean. Listen, I don't think we're going to agree on this one.
I don't.
As much as they kept saying
not at all.
Many of their fighters in the UFC, then they might as well be part of the UFC. I was starting to wonder if I was watching an LFA event or a UFC event. As much as people talk about their LFA alum that were going to be in the UFC. That said, though, you know, maybe we should talk about the fights because there were some really good fights.
There were some really good fights, and let's talk. One of my favorites, and God only knows where her career is going to go, is that Nigerian Terminator. Great name. She's a problem, and she's got no problem getting in the mix.
Yeah.
So I think eventually we probably see a step up in weight for her to really get her to some good fights and maybe up to the UFC or something like that. I think would probably be definitely into Invicta. You know, the next maybe fight a better quality of a female fighter. You know, they're all under essentially the same production umbrella. So I don't see why you wouldn't be able to make some fight swaps, obviously, since they're all under the UFC banner.
She is nasty.
So that's why I don't necessarily agree with our guy in the previous segment here about the production, because if you're under the banner, then I want everything afforded to me.
Exactly.
Especially, you know, can we not do something about Ron Kruk at this point? But anyway, I'll leave that for a hot take at another time. But yeah. I mean, if everybody's flying the same flag, I don't see the problem.
So I did love it. I did like her. I thought it was a really good. I thought it was a good fight. She came out. She was aggressive. What I'm looking for, especially in some of these LFAs, cage fighters, Invictas, is these folks are trying to impress because this isn't the last stop on their train. They're trying to get to the next one, right? And so they're not trying to stop at Shelbyville. They're trying to go to Springfield. And so this is just a train on that way. And so what basically happens for me is, if I'm in their situation, I'll fight in a box. If you're telling me Uncle Dana has a chance to watch me do this, and it doesn't matter to me. But what I will say is this: I appreciate all these people that throw the caution to the wind, and they understand this is it. I don't got another chance. I can't assume that someone from Invicta or someone from Bellator or someone from UFC is going to look at this fight, and I don't take any. I'm risk adverse. I don't take any chances. And it's a boring fight. That's, to me, I at least appreciate if Uncle Dana does have any like things that he talks about. He's basically going out and he's letting the LFA president know, like, I got no problems putting these on my app, but these cards better be good. I don't want snore fest. because in
Yes.
order to get people to watch these cards, because they're not UFC events, is they better not be snorefest. Listen, eventually we can talk about your production. Maybe we can get somebody else, but in the meantime, let's just talk about your fighters. And so what I will say is if the money gets put into the fighters first and then the production, I'm okay with that. I'm not always going to be okay with that. But again, like I said, this is like G League basketball. I'm not anticipating that ESPN is breaking out the 8K for this. I imagine that they're going to hold the 8K for the NBA Finals. With that being said, I really like Loveth. I thought she was really good. I thought that her at 115, I think she still has, I think she could go to 125 and be okay. But I do think that before anyone says, well, let's pull her up to UFC, I think we should pull her into Invicta first, like John said. I'll be honest with you, though. I was looking at the roster on 125 for Invicta. Oof. Boy, I'll tell you what, if she gets pulled up, man, that is a litmus. There are some bangers there. We will find out if she's a Nigerian Terminator or like the T-1000, just an old date model.
Hey, as they say at the tables, scared money don't make money. So, we got to get it where we get it.
I'll be very interested to see what happens with her. For number one, she looks like a killer. There's no question about that. But she's coming out of a relatively unknown gym in Gomez Jiu-Jitsu, based out of California. They don't necessarily have any other real big name fighters, in their gym, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it kind of means something, right? Because what is the level of sparring partner? You're in a jiu-jitsu gym. We've basically only seen you strike. I mean, yeah, you pulled off a rear naked choke, I think, in your first professional win, but how versatile is your game? Or are you such a banger that it don't need to be versatile, right? Like, what's that going to look like? And can she get through that? Murderer's Row would be a little bit of a stretch, but the Invicta strawweights are no laughing matter. So can she get her way through there? Because we already know what's waiting for her when she comes to the UFC.
She's got a mean person from one of the countries that ends with the Stan, named Valentino the Bullet Shevchenko. So,
well, I mean, that's if she goes up.
Oh, stop it! That's so far-sighted.
No, that's piping dreams. I'm just saying, though, that's the champ. And so if that is your Springfield and you're in Shelbyville, there you go.
All right. Okay, Stephen A.
Well, no, remember, because right now she's a strawweight. If she stays at strawweight, she's got way legs.
She'll move up. She'll move up to 125. I don't see her staying at 15. I don't think over the course of her career this will just be. She's got.
Because she looks like a tank.
Yeah, I was gonna say that girl likes her beef, and so she's eating. She's gonna eat when her coaches are like, we can get you to 25, we can get you to 25. Can I bring up, because listen, there is a guy on this card I love, and so on my single segment I'm gonna talk about him. So I'm not even gonna touch him on this one. I want to talk about the co-main event, or the fight before it. Jacob Rosales versus Jose Martinez. I got to tell you, when I was looking at this, it looked like Rosales was a senior in high school facing a freshman in high school. At first, the size difference was massive. And I'll tell you what, Martinez at least showed heart, because it looked like Rosales was hitting him with everything. He looked faster. He looked crisper. And Martinez, I'll give it to him. He stayed in there and he made it a fight. But, yeah, definitely Rosales was definitely a show.
Yeah, you could. I mean, I guess we've been talking about it for about a week now. There are levels to this, and you can definitely see when there's a difference in talent level, and you just saw it. I mean, we saw it on just about everything
Absolutely
on everything.
I was going to say the same thing. You could say that about the main event on the UFC on Holloway Qatar. Like, that was just. You could tell there was just levels. And so in this one, you could see Martinez tried his best. Rosales was just hands and feet above Martinez just together. Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, we've talked to you guys a little bit about what our favorite fights of LFA this past weekend for LFA 97 were, we'd love to hear from you, to hear what you thought. Do you think that we're looking at this right when we're looking at the Nigerian Nightmare? And what did you think of the co-main event and the main event? Leave your comments down in the comments. Feel free to, check us out on social media. We're on Twitter. Our handle is Bo's Throwin. Also, if you want, you can actually leave us a voicemail with your comments. The number is 306-791 BOWS, BOWS. We'll be happy to respond, maybe even play your comment on the air. But as always, loving talking to you guys. If you like what you heard, subscribe, and we'll check you guys out next time. Peace.